The Aqara Smart Lock U400 is one of the first smart locks to commit to Apple's ultra wideband feature that was first announced in 2024. It also has Matter over Thread, Apple Home Key, and this is part of ultra wideband feature set. For AppleHome users, on paper, it looks like a lock that supports a number of Apple's key features. It comes across as a smart lock designed around them. As always, I want to be clear in this review. Aqara did send this over free of charge for the purpose of this review. However, they do not have any say on what's said in the review whatsoever, and they're actually watching this for the first time, the same time as you. But if you are interested in one of these, there's links in the description below that's helped this channel out at no extra cost to you. This review focuses exclusively on how it behaves within Apple Home and Apple Wallet, rather than the wider Aqara ecosystem. So let's get into it and see how it performs, and is it worth buying. So starting with the designs and features. From the moment you take out the U400 out of the box, it feels solid and well made. There's no hollow plastic or flex when handling the panels. The exterior keypad panel has a clean, understated design with a finish that resists fingerprints better than I expected when I first saw it. The lock is made up of two components. One panel mounts on the outside of the door and houses a keypad, fingerprint reader, the NFC area, and the ultra wideband hardware. The second panel mounts internally and contains the rechargeable battery, manual thumb turn, and control buttons. Everything required to fit the lock to a standard deadbolt is included. A custom deadbolt, mounting hardware, adaptive rings, and screws are all supplied, making installation straightforward as long as you meet the door requirements. A particularly thoughtful detail is power redundancy. Both the exterior and interior components feature a USB-C port. If the internal battery ever runs out, the lock can be temporarily powered from either side using a power bank. This removes one of the most common smart lock failure scenarios and makes battery anxiety largely irrelevant. For traditional access, the U400 also features a physical key. The key hole is in behind an exterior panel and is accessed by sliding it downward. It keeps the front of the lock visually clean while still providing a proper mechanical fallback when needed. The lock is rated for outdoor use on the external panel, combined with a rechargeable battery designed for long-term use for up to 6 months. So let's move on to setup and add into Apple Home. Now, I want to be upfront, I installed this on my office door rather than at home. As you can tell, I'm a Brit and I don't have a US style deadbolt lock on my main property. But it still made it an ideal test scenario because I use this office every single day and the door is also used quite often. Physical installation took about 45 minutes from start to finish. This included mounting the hardware, aligning all the deadbolt and fitting all the panels and calibrating the lock and everything else. And the instructions are clear and nothing about the process feel rushed or awkward, to be honest. Adding the lock to home is handled via Matter over Thread. Once powered on and placed into pairing mode using the set button on the back, it talks you through with a voice and it appeared quickly within the Home app after I scanned the code. There's no need for an Aqara hub. All you need is a Apple Home hub such as the Apple TV 4K or a HomePod acting as a Thread bordered router. During setup, Apple Home automatically walks you through a home key configuration as soon as the lock is added. A home key is created and added to the Apple Wallet. Tap to unlock using NFC is enabled as part of this process, and the ultra wideband support is also enabled out of the box with no additional configuration required. This means hands-free unlocking works immediately once a lock is paired. Assuming you're using a supported iPhone or Apple Watch, then you're good to go. Now let's move on to Apple Home and the home key experience. As I've already mentioned for this review, I did not use the Aqara app for day-to-day operation. All controls, statuses, and automation was handled through Apple Home, which, being honest, was the first time I ever did for an Aqara product. Whilst I was expecting to miss out on fingerprint opening, as fingerprints are not managed inside Apple Home, they can be added directly on the lock itself without opening the Aqara app. This is done by holding the set button on the internal panel and using the keypad to select the appropriate local menu option. Voice prompts guide you through the process, making it surprisingly approachable even without an app interface.
To add user, please press 1. To delete user, please press 2. For volume and language settings, please press 3. For meta binding, please press 4. For door lock calibration, acceleration. Please press 5. Press confirm button to repeat. Start to add keys. For user 2. Please capturing new fingerprint. To skip the step, press enter button. Continue capturing more fingerprint area.
Inside Apple Home, the U400 exposed all the expected lock controls. Lock and unlock, status updates are fast and reliable. Auto lock can also be configured directly in the lock settings within the Home app. You can set the lock to automatically relock after a defined period, starting from 30 seconds and increasing to longer intervals depending on your preferences. This removes the need for workaround automation and makes the feature accessible to non-technical users. And to be honest, it just works. It works every single time without any particular issue. Ultra-wideband behavior can also be controlled at system level. Apple Home uses direction awareness, so the lock only unlocks when you are approaching the door from the correct side. This prevents accidental unlocks when walking inside the property, so you can select left or right and all three directions that the Ultra Band detects things. This is particularly useful for properties where the space is quite confined and you might need to narrow down the awareness of where you're approaching from. If you prefer not to use hands-free unlocking using Ultra Wideband, this can be disabled entirely. This can be done directly in the Wallet app on both iPhone and Apple Watch by turning off Unlock on approach for the Home Key. Tap to unlock using NFC continues to function when Ultra Wideband is disabled, giving full control over how the locks behave without removing Home Key support. And as I've mentioned, you can do it in both the Apple Watch app and the iPhone app, so you can independently, so it's not global. You also get the battery status, and this is visible in the Apple Home app, and updates are all done and pushed through the Home app, so you don't actually need to use anything else. So we talked about how things work. Let's now talk about performance. And performance is where the Aqara Smart Lock U400 really differentiates itself from older smart locks, particularly within Apple Home. Ultra wideband plays an important role in this performance area. Ultra wideband uses precise distance and direct movement. This allows the lock to understand intent. In practice, this means it unlocks only when you're clearly approaching the door from the outside and not passing by or standing on the wrong side. Response times in my testing have been really good. Actually, they've been excellent. The lock unlocks exactly when you expect it to without hesitation and premature triggering. There's no need to wake your phone, open an app, or tap the lock, and the experience will quickly fades into the background, which is exactly what you want from something that you use every day like this. When the door unlocks via ultra wideband, the lock shows a green indicator light on the exterior panel and plays an audible confirmation tone. You also receive a notification in Apple Watch and your iPhone confirming it's unlocked. And the notification is one of the features I really like on the Apple Watch. You can immediately relock the door if needed. This adds an extra layer of confidence and control, particularly in situations where the lock may have unlocked intentionally for any reason. Fingerprint and keypad performance was also good throughout testing. Fingerprint recognition was fast and consistent, with successful unlocks happening quickly once a finger was placed on the sensor. The keypad is responsive and easy to use, and pin-based unlocking worked reliably. That said, I did notice on a number of occasions the keypad did not wake immediately when touched. It was not a frequent issue, but there was moments when a second touch was needed to wake the keypad before entering the code. This did not prevent unlocking or responsiveness of the screen, but it's worth noting as this was a small usability quirk. Overall, the ultra wideband behavior feels deliberate, secure, and intentional. It's one of the strongest features of this lock, and it sets a clear direction for where smart locks within Apple Home are heading. I would expect to see this level of spatial awareness become standard across smart locks in the future and maybe across Apple Home's other smart home devices. In terms of connectivity performance, Thread has been reliable. I've had no issues of no response with this smart lock, and it's always been available when I've wanted to use it. It's just simply worked. No issues at all with connectivity. So my review summary. The U400 is one of the clearest examples yet of what a modern Apple Home accessory should be when Apple's platform is treated as the primary experience. It's also the first Aqara product I've used where I did not need the Aqara app to add the device or get the best experience from it. From initial setup through to daily use, everything that matters can be handled directly in Apple Home and Apple Wallet, which is a significant shift from many other accessories. The U400 is well built, thoughtfully designed, and clearly engineered with long term, real world use in mind. From the physical construction and power redundancy to the way it integrates into Apple Home, everything about the lock feels deliberate. Matter over Thread provides the reliability and responsiveness in Apple Home that we should expect from our devices. Home Key removes the friction from daily use, and Ultra Wideband adds a level of spatial awareness and intent that older smart locks simply cannot replicate. The only complaint I really have to call out is the touchscreen, which sometimes takes a few attempts to wake. And what makes the U400 stand out is not a list of features, but how invisible these features become once the lock is in use. Unlocking feels natural rather than technical. Everything behaves predictably. Apple Home users who want a smart lock that feels native, intentional, and future facing rather than adapted from other ecosystems, then the U400 is an easy recommendation. The bottom line, the Aqara U400 with Home Key and Ultra Wideband does not try to reinvent how smart locks work. It simply removes the steps that are no longer needed to exist for unlocking a door in a modern smart home. So, guys, that's the end of the review, and hopefully you found it useful. If you have, don't forget to check out the rest of the channel. We've got plenty of videos on Apple's smart home platform. If you like what you see, then it'd be greatly appreciated if you could support the channel and subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified when new videos land. And finally, you can follow us on our social media platforms on X, Instagram, and Facebook at Follow HomeKit. Thank you very much. I'll speak to you soon.